हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब अच्छे होंगे। चैप्टर नंबर 58, द थॉट ऑफ रूडी नेकेड, फ्रॉम द बुक थीफ रिटन बाय मार्कस ज़्यूज़ैक। कैसे हैं हम लोग मेरे दोस्तों। मुझे नेक्स्ट बुक कमेंट में जल्द से जल्द बताइए कौन सी रीड करूँ मैं। मुझे मेरी रीडिंग कैसी लगी, कैसी चेंजेस करना चाहिए, ये सेटअप नहीं हो रहा बराबर, इसको कैसा करना चाहिए। आप लोगों को बराबर से दिख रहा है नहीं दिख रहा है, मुझे सब आप कमेंट में ज़रूर से बताइएगा। देयर हैड बीन द थॉट ऑफ रूडी नेकेड, chapter number 58. There had been a woman standing in the corner. She had the thickest plait he had ever seen. It roped down her back, and occasionally, when she brought it over her shoulder, it lugged at her colossal breast like an overfed pet. In fact, everything about her was magnified: her lips, her legs, her paved teeth. She had a large, direct voice. No time to waste. Come, she instructed them. Come, stand here. The doctor, by comparison, was like a balding rodent. He was small and nimble, pacing the school office with his manic yet businesslike movements and mannerisms. And he had a cold. Out of the three boys, it was difficult to decide which was the more reluctant to take off his clothes when ordered to do so. The first one looked from person to person, from the aging teacher to the gargantuan nurse to the pint-sized doctor. The one in the middle looked only at his feet, and the one on the far left counted his blessings. And he was in the school office and not a dark alley. The nurse really decided was a frightener. Who's first? She asked. It was the supervising teacher, Herr Heckensteller, who answered. It was a more black suit than a man. His face was a moustache. His face was a moustache. Examining the boys, his choice came swiftly. Skewers. The unfortunate Jurgen Skewers undid his uniform with great discomfort. He was left standing only in his shoes and underwear. A luckless flea was stranded on his German face, and Herr Heckenstaller asked the shoes. He removed both shoes, both socks. Undie Underhosen, said the nurse, and the underpants. Both Rudy and the other boy, Olaf Spiegel, had started undressing now as well, but they were nowhere near the perilous position of Jurgen Skewers. The boy was shaking. He was a year younger than the other two, but taller. When his underpants came down, it was with abject humiliation that he stood in the small, cool office. His self-respect was around his ankles. The nurse watched him with intent, her arms folded across her devastating chest. Heckenstaller ordered the other two to get moving. The doctor scratched his scalp and cuffed. His cold was killing him. The three naked boys were each examined on the cold flooring. They cupped their genitals in their hands and shivered like the future. Between the doctors coughing and wheezing, they were put through their paces. Breath in, sniffle. Breath out, second sniffle. Arms out now. A cough. I said arms out. A horrendous hail of coughing, as humans do. The boys looked constantly at each other for some sign of mutual sympathy. None was there. All three pried their hands from their pennies and held out their arms. Rudy did not feel like he was a part of a master race. We were gradually succeeding the nurse was informing the teacher, in creating a new future, it will be a new class of physically and mentally advanced Germans, an officer class. Unfortunately, her sermon was cut short when the doctor creased in half and coughed with all his might over the abandoned clothes. Tears welled up in his eyes, and Rudy couldn't help but wonder. A new future like him. Wisely, he did not speak it. The examinations was completed, and he managed to perform his first nude Hail Hitler. In a perverse kind of way, he considered that it didn't feel half bad. Stripped of their dignity, the boys were allowed to dress again, and they were shown from the office. They could already hear the discussion held in their honor behind them. They are a little older than usual, the doctor said, but I am thinking at least two of them. The nurse agreed, the first and the third. The three boys stood outside, first and third. First was you, Scowers, said Rudy. He then questioned Olaf Spiegel, who was third. Spiegel made a new calculations. Did she mean third in line or third examined? It didn't matter. He knew what he wanted to believe. That was you, I think. Cauchet Spiegel, it was you. A small guarantee. The courtman knew who was third. The day after they did visited Himmel Street, Rudy sat on his front step with Liesel and related the whole saga, even the smallest details. He gave up and admitted what had happened that day at school when he was taken out of class. There was even some laughter about the tremendous nurse and the look of Jürgen Skiver's face. For the most part, though, it was a tale of anxiety, especially when it came to the voices in the kitchen and the dead body dominoes. For days, Liesel could not shift one thought from her head. It was the examination of the three boys. Or if she was honest, it was Rudy. She would lie in bed, missing Max, wondering where he was, praying that he was alive, but somewhere, standing amongst all of it, was Rudy. He glowed in the dark, completely naked. There was great dread in that vision, especially in the moment when he was forced to remove his hands. It was disconcerting to say the least, but for some reason, she couldn't stop thinking about it. यहाँ पे होता है हमारा चैप्टर नंबर 58 ख़त्म. मिलेंगे हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में विद चैप्टर नंबर 59. बाय फॉर नाउ माय डियर फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम द बुक थीफ. और मुझे जल्दी 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 आप कमेंट करके बताएं कि मैं कौन सी नेक्स्ट बुक स्टार्ट करूँ. अभी ये इतनी सी रह गई, थोड़ी सी रह गई है, बिल्कुल इतनी सारी हो गई. 75% हो चुकी है, 25% बाकी है. और मुझे जल्दी से बताइए. थैंक यू एंड थैंक यू माय व्यूअर्स, माय सब्सक्राइबर्स. थैंक यू एवरीवन. बाय फॉर नाउ.